Ah,
Okay.
so we said that faith concept is basically to have some kind of a conversation with the divine light, to get to know the divine light on an intimate level. And it's like coming to learn from the artist. So if the divine light is the ultimate artist, we come to observe its work and to have a chat and to know its ways. This is how Kabbalah is treating faith, the concept of faith. And yeah, it's not easy to do that in an ultra rational world like we live in, but that is the spiritual work to maintain a belief or faith that is beyond the rational thinking, and then create certainty in an uncertain times. It's extremely necessary. So do you want to
Yeah.
add something?
No. So this is just one aspect of the work that is described in Kabbalah, the kind of the daily work, daily spiritual work. So one is the what you just explained, the faith, the channel that we open by with faith beyond the rational, beyond the mind, but it's a mind walk. It's a mind reminding ourselves, okay, there's something beyond. Create this certainty when we don't have it.
And also we said that in order to come every day with a clean page and not to have all the old thoughts that we have about the concept of the divine and of God, we actually need to go to sleep and like lose our consciousness for the night. So when we come, so when we wake up in the morning, we have a free, clean white page again and again and again, which is the concept of Eheye Asher Eheye, I am that I am. That the divine is not something that we can put
in a box.
In a box,
and we cannot grasp it. And even if we got into a level of understanding or a level of intelligence that we feel it. I'm writing here even if we get into a level of understanding, we really want to understand the concept of God. We really want to understand the manifestation of it now in our life. This will create this space of work, this channel of communication, and we absorb it. We make Him presence with the morning gratitude prayer, and then during the day we have a feeling of what is the divine light today for us. We have the feeling in our body, or we have the concept in our mind. But then when we go to sleep, it must be like a reset for that light to reveal itself tomorrow in a new form, because it's that's how we will develop eventually.
So our exercise was to try and say the Modani prayer in the mornings. If anyone wants to share how was their experience with that, would love to hear. And if not, it's also fine.
Or any experience with morning gratitude, affirmations.
Okay,
No?
you can always pop in and tell us later if you feel like. Share with the class. So basically, one of the aspects of Modernity is also to talk in a second person to the divine light, so we can actually feel how intimate the connection is with that light, because we say ata. We use the word ata and we refer directly to the light. It's like saying you. Yeah, so just a reminder, we say מודה אני לפניך, מלך חי וקיים, שהחזרת בי נשמתי בחמלה, רבה אמונתך. So the Zohar, the holy book of Kabbalah, is telling us it's not enough that we're working on our faith, we also need to work on our hearts. So we have the mind, which is faith, and the heart. The heart is liba, or lev. Liba in Aramaic, and lev in Hebrew. And the work of the heart is the work of the body, basically. So what does it mean that it's the work of the body? If the work of the mind is to overcome the need to receive certainty from knowing rationally how things are, then the work of the heart is to overcome the will to receive pleasure only from materialistic stuff.
So basically, we talk. There's a one walk, the spiritual walk of the belief, of opening the blockages in our mind to let the direct light, we call it, come in and have a connection with the divine. And then the other walk, which is the heart walk, which is overcome the will to only consume and receive pleasure for ourselves only, like the reactive nature kind of that we talked about, the egoistic nature. There is a sentence. First, there's this pasuk from Tehillim, I think. It was referred to Solomon, Shlomo. דע את אלוהי אביך ועבדהו בלב שלם. דע את אלוהי אביך, it refers to the first part. דע, knowing. Know God, like know that there's something beyond, and walk avdehu, like do the work for the light in a full heart, because the work eventually is in the body.
It's like the avodat mocha, the work of the mind, is to make sure that nothing blocks us from receiving the light in like a crown chakra level. And the work of the body, the work of the heart, is to make sure that we are not blocking the light from moving it on to others, because we only want to keep it to ourselves.
Yeah, we are not receiving for ourselves only. Because if we are desire only materialistic stuff, then all day, like, just we are the last stop. We just consume for ourselves, and that's it. And if we'll draw it, how do I?
Yeah, I want to draw a person that is receiving the light from above, and then in the heart, transmitting it to the world.
Okay, I thought about simple way, but I like your idea. Good with the. So if this is the vessel, and like a vessel can be anything in the world, but let's refer it to ourselves as human beings. The light, there's a direct light that we receive from the divine directly. And if we have the will to receive, and then we need to be able to transmit the light forward.
So if the light, so let's say this is a head, for example. I'll draw a head here. Well, why is it so hard to move the mouse? Okay, this is a little green head. So we receive the light from the crown chakra, we receive it from the mind, from faith that is above knowing. And then in the heart, let's say, this is the heart, the light that flows. We cannot, what we need to do in order to work the work of the heart is not to keep it inside the vessel, but to let it out. And it sounds simple, but it's very tempting to keep the light only for ourselves, because light is pleasure, and we want that. It makes us feel good. So it's very hard once we get that light to share it and to acknowledge the importance of not only indulging in it for ourselves, for our own pleasure. That is like a lot of dualism, like sweet and bitter. The work of the heart is symbolized by empty or full, sweet or bitter. It's the body knows what's good. It's like, this is good, this is not, this is fun, this is not. And it's always very dualistic. So the purpose is not to get addicted to that sweetness, to that sweet feeling that we receive and we love so much, but to take it and then to do like an alchemy process with it and send it as light that is even better than what you received. It's like the work of alchemy, if that makes sense.
One more thing about it is you can think about it as like the sentence said, "Enaim root velev chomed," like the eyes see and the heart is chomed in English, desires. So we can go to the supermarket, right, and see all the cheese options that we have, the meat. We can open Netflix and see all the movies, and we desire them. We want all of them eventually. And all these options are in front of our eyes. So the heart immediately wants this to consume, to gain pleasures from this materialistic stuff. The work that the heart work here is to create a will to receive the light, actually, and not just materialistic stuff. And in that sense, it can be done, achieved in the same way. We see someone, a guru, a successful person, someone inspired by, we see him, we see how they behave in their life, how much positivity and blessings they attract, and then we want that as well. So that's kind of, again, using the same mechanism of the body, but actually to manipulate it to desire something that is divine and continues.
Yeah, and another thing about the body consciousness, that is very easy to just be in that. And it's really an effort to remember to come back to the soul needs, what the soul needs. So Kabbalah is like teaching us that there are ways to make sure that we put aside the needs of the body in order to let the soul shine through and see what the soul needs. So for example, can you think about a way, can maybe one of you think about a way we can put the body aside and let the soul speak? We have a holiday in which we do that. I think it would you're muted. Everyone is muted.
Can you unmute yourself?
What, the one you fast?
Yes, it's my, exactly.
Yom Kippur.
Yom Kippur.
Yom Kippur, yes.
Yeah, so it's correct. Yom Kippur is for us to make the soul the one that is dominant and not the body. So the body is like in a state of not receiving anything for itself, basically. Like no food, no drinks. You cannot even like move it or do any exercise, or like really restrain the body. And that situation is actually creating a better vessel. It's making us a better vessel because we use the skill of learning how to speak to the soul. It's very hard to know what the soul needs when the body is so dominant, when the body is like taking control over everything. And we see it in our daily lives. It's like, okay, now I need coffee, now I need food, now I need to stretch, now I need to sleep, now I need to shower. It's always like we're maintaining the body. It takes a lot of resources and energy. So once in a while, not to do that will balance our vessel. It can be even like fasting that is not one full day, but just a few hours.
And it's not, yeah, it can be a full fast. It can be a even just restrain ourselves from like, I really want to eat now. So wait, just like witness, with pause, like we said, like pause the reactive nature, witness yourself willing something really hard, create this space, and that already, this space already creates and evolve the vessel.
And there's another concept that is called Yagata v'matzata ta'amin, or in Hebrew, you've tired and found.
Yeah, it sounds weird.
But basically it means if you did the hard work, if you're putting effort on an everyday level, then one day somehow and for sure, it will come back to you in a karmic way. So it's very similar to the concept of karma, and very in different knowledges and esoteric wisdoms we have that concept. Like everything is like you've tired and found. You have. But the thing is that we don't need to like hold our breath and expect that payment. Like it's not okay. I've been a good person. I've done the spiritual work. I'm trying to be like the divine. I'm working on my vessel. When will I get the reward? Like when? And being very anxious about it and waiting for it to come. So the Kabbalah is telling us, don't wait for it to come. Don't expect for it to come. Don't be in that state of mind that you need to receive something because of your effort. Just let it be. But if you are dedicating every work that you do to the divine light, then rest assured that you're gonna get the spiritual points some day in some way.
Yeah, every action counts basically. And that's the work. Once you do the work, you understand that you have your certainty. You are not trying to get a validation from anything or a reward from anyone while you do the work, but because you have this faith, so you keep doing the physical thing, the yagata. You kind of tired yourself, your body, even if you don't get the immediate satisfaction, because we know that the immediate satisfaction is the food for our satan, our reactive nature, and eventually you get something. Everything get into synchronicity. You're like, fuck, I don't believe it happened, and then 1 month later, it's like the best thing that ever happened to me. You know that feeling? And that makes you eventually believe that, okay, everything is for the good. So that's the idea behind the Yagata Matzata Ta'amin.
And what you get for it is mitzvah fee, which is like the payment that one receives when they devote themselves to the light. Schar mitzvah. So being in the consciousness of like anger, jealousy, lust, all that body reactive nature, it's making us not see reality as it is. And we can't really trust ourselves once we are in that consciousness. It's like there's dirt and dust on our windows and we can't see. So the work of the heart is cleaning. cleaning, and purifying, which is very appropriate for springtime. And this year is also Shnat Shemitah. So it's like to drop and clean. How do I explain Shnat Shemitah? Drop and clean and really make sure that your heart is purified.
There is a mechanism of the divine light and Satan together. They are collaborating, the Sitracha, that called Achbadat Alev.
The heavy
The
heavying of the heart.
heaviness or heaving of the heart. Heavy? Is it a word?
Heaviness of the heart.
Heaviness of the heart. That's the way the divine light, eventually, if we just consume and we fill our consciousness with materialistic stuff, and we only gain materialistic, we put more weight on our heart with materialistic stuff. I need to take care of this, I need to eat that, later on I need to buy a new table, and we forget about willing to serve the light or connect to the light. The heart will feel heavy eventually. We will feel some heaviness that with time it will break. So when the heart is too full, eventually something will break. And then we will eventually get to a point when from this emptiness, from this new space that was created because we put too much, we will have the opportunity to ask for the light and pray, okay, give me answers why it happens. You know, when you actually call out for help from the divine. So that's the way of the light with Sitracha to eventually everyone will get there. Everyone will open their heart and will to fill it with the light. And not just with, I don't know.
Will be willing.
Will be willing, yeah, sorry. Will be willing to fill it with the light and not just materialistic stuff.
Yeah, and another thing that happens when the heart is not purified, except for heaviness of the heart, is ego trips. So an ego trip is like a situation where the ego is so dominant and is so like taking over that the person becomes blind to it, but everyone else can see that they are in an ego trip. And then they don't listen. Like the person going through a ego trip is not listening to the advice and the smart words and the wisdom of people around them, because they are already so like intoxicated. Their heart is like a drunk person, and it's a situation that usually ends with a fall. Like if you get to an ego trip, the way out is probably painful. So
and it's again, it's the concept of the heaviness of the heart. You're only willing to gain power, to consume things for yourself only. You fill your heart with desires that are kind of, you are the end station of, and you are being motivated only by this desire. Eventually, it's like, you want to give the example?
Yeah, I want to say as well, like, this is why the good always wins. It's not like a Hollywood movies cliche, but because the world is operating with spiritual laws that are very accurate, and whoever goes against these spiritual laws cannot be sustainable, then eventually the evil will lose and the good will win, because the good is the property of the divine. That's what Kabbalah is telling us. Goodness and kindness and harmony is properties of the divine, and we cannot go against it. It will not work. So, for example, we have Hitler. Hitler had, at the beginning of his adventure, it was quite successful. he was really like doing well, you know, if you look at it on a strategic level and like a military level of success, and financially and on all levels, he was doing good. And at the as he went on and on with his plan, then he started to lose more and more battles. And people around him saw that these battles were like impossible to win. And they told him like, this is not good. Like you can't win this battle no matter what. It's impossible. And he was just like positive that he can, going with his ego and being blind to everything else, and eventually losing the war and dying, and you know.
Yeah, and from the outside world, it's really obvious that someone is really motivated by the ego.
He's the most extreme example.
Yeah, this is an extreme example, but you can see it in our daily life. When someone is very motivated by a hard desire, which is materialistic and egoistic, and you know, really determined and following till, and if he is not waking up for the fact that is motivated only by that, it leads to ridiculous or painful consequences sometimes.
Yeah, because the rules of creation are accurate. We need, the equation is, we need to have an accurate set of values that include love and compassion with healthy boundaries. And this is why we sometimes need to let the mind, which is fate above mind, lead the way. Because fate will tell us, even if the situation looks amazing, and I can get so much pleasure and sweet feelings out of this, I'm not going to follow, because I know that the spiritual rules are accurate and I trust the light. So we have the word for king in Hebrew. So we have, what is the word for king in Hebrew? Melech. Write it in transliteration. So, no, transliteration. Yeah, so the word melech, king in Hebrew, is actually composed by three different words. First one is moach, that's the first letter mem. Moach is brain or mind. Second is lev, which is heart, and that's the letter lamed, the second letter of the word melech. And the third one is kaved, which is liver, which is the letter k of the word melech, the last letter of the word melech. So it's like the word melech is initials of these three. Kaved. And the reason is that in order to be a king, you have to have the fate that is above knowing, leading the way. Moach comes first, but not the rational thinking as we might perceive. We talked about it, what we mean when we say moach. Lev comes second, and then kaved, or some would say klayot.
Some say klayot, body, lower body.
But like lower body parts come last. And this is the right way to lead. If you go by moach, lev, kaved, it's also the right way in the body. Like this is the top, then this, and then this. Then you are a king.
That is the flow of the light. First, everything starts from the mind, from a thought, then it gets manifested into matter. That's the right flow. If you try to follow first your heart. Yeah.
What happens if you follow first your heart?
Then the mind, and then the kaved.
What do you
What
get?
you will achieve? Will achieve lemech.
Lemech is a loser. Lemech, if we switch the words, it's a loser. It's someone that is just following the heart, but following like the body pleasures.
The egoistic heart, without involving the mind, without any, so, yeah.
Like someone that doesn't have the spiritual path that's leading the way, that the faith in and trust in the light, but is just following what feels good. So that's a loser, that's a lemech. And what happens if you let your lower bodily desires and needs that are really like animalistic guide the way?
These are that if you combine the letters, you get klum, which is nothing. Literally nothing. So this just shows the flow of the result of like the right flow. So the mind is leading, the heart is following, and has its own important role, and then kaved, body, lasts. And that's how you become a king, not a king of Disney, but a king of your own world. You actually combine spirit and matter. You live in this realm, and yeah, you bloom.
Okay, so another concept that we're going to talk about today is Shekhinah.
Any questions so far?
Yeah.
Thoughts? We are dropping here different words, different concepts. How do you feel so far? Okay. So let's let's
talk about Shekhinah or Shekinah in English. Does anyone know what it means or think they know and want to share? Or maybe anyone can guess what is the root that is hiding in the word Shekinah or Shekhinah? The three Hebrew letters that are Shochen. Yofi. That's correct. So Shochen means dwells or inhabits. But Shekhinah is like a female way of describing something that is dwelling or inhabiting something. It's a feminine way of describing, and that shows us that Shekhinah is a feminine concept. It's a very, very important concept in Judaism. It's holy. The holy Shekhinah is called. And basically, it's the way of the divine light to be present and dwell in our world and on earth, and to fill up the vessels and to bring life into everything. So it's the manifestation of the divine light in our realm.
Yeah, it's
soul or spirit of the world.
I think in session 2 or even 1, we talked about the Tzimtzum. The light was the Ein Sof, infinite light everywhere. Then he created a vessel, and then the vessel contained the light, a full, complete form of giving and receiving. Then a bread of shame. The part in the vessel wanted to be like the light, felt shame of having all this light, exploded, now we are living in a broken reality of vessels, and the light can only reveal itself when the vessel is being built properly to reveal it. Now, from that context, the Shekhinah is the part of the divine light. I don't want to go too deep, but there are four worlds. Atzilut, according to Kabbalah. We'll get into that more deeply, but I feel like it's a good time to mention that. That's the higher world. That's where really the divine light is still not being tzimtzum. Reduced, concealed. Then Bria. Then we have the third world, Yetzira. And Asiya. These are four worlds that were created. Each vessel in this world exists simultaneously in these four worlds, in this four dimensions. If we are managed to live our life very spiritually, reveal a lot of light, we will feel in our body, we will sense all the attributes of the upper worlds. We will feel more connected, we'll feel more oneness. We will kind of live in another realm in a way. These four worlds also represented by the word Yud Hey Vav Hey, as you know. These letters. And that's the macro kind of, the macro. If you look at the world and all the countries and the Yabashot, the lands, and in the micro, micro level, we can divide it to sfirot, like the 10 sfirot. So we have the Keter, crown, Chokmah, Binah, Tiferet, Malchut. Now you see here 5, here you see 4, you don't understand. That's because I forgot the Adam Kadmon. So they kind of represent the same thing, but this is more the micro and this is the macro. These are the worlds that we live in. These are the kind of the chakras, the main part of the vessel that we are. So the crown is the point of this letter Yud, same as the Adam Kadmon. It's the Adam Kadmon. It's like an ancient man, but it's actually the phase where the vessel and the light are still one together. And then we have Chokhmah, top right side, Binah, left side, Tiferet, heart, and Malchut, body. Now, we are not actually being revealed on the daily life to the upper worlds. We're not feeling them unless we are prophets or do deep meditations, take psychedelics sometimes, and we can actually get to this world, get to this Sfirot. But the Shekhinah, she's coming from there. This is the part of God that, the only part of the divine light that reveal itself to these lower worlds. And
it doesn't come to anyone. It comes to specifically to vessels that are doing work outside of their skin, which is ואהבת לרעך כמוך. And that is the work of the heart. The work of the heart is not to only look for the pleasures of your own skin, but to spread the love outside of yourself. And when you do that, you are worthy of the Shekhinah's visit. You are worthy of the Shekhinah's revelation in your life. Because it means that you cleared the shells and now you're open to receive that spirit of Shekhinah, which is also called the Queen. And once you feel the Shekhinah, it's like you know you've met a form of God.
And she is your access. She is, we talk about it as she. That's, but when she feel our hearts, we live. We have access to the upper worlds. We have access to higher level of the divine light. She is our most, I'd say, materialistic way or a tangible way to feel the divine light on daily basis. It can feel like a sense of completion, of perfection. We sit somewhere, everything in pink and shiny. In some levels, we can really feel her.
So we have some sentences in Hebrew that are demonstrating the work of the heart that will bring Shekhinah to dwell in us. One is that the one who prays for others is answered for first. המתפלל לחברו נענה ראשון. And that means that is part of the work outside of your skin. So when your prayer is going to another person and it's real and you really do it with your full heart, then it will be answered first, like even before you, because it's ואהבת לרעך כמוך, which is the ואהבת לרעך כמוך is the biggest rule and commandment that we need to do as humans on this planet. It's very basically summarizing everything, just these 3 words.
Yeah.
And the second one is that there is nothing more selfish than being spiritual, because if you want to receive the light, if you want that life of light and fulfillment, then you have to work outside of your skin. Like there's no other way. It's the only spiritual way. And that's just an examples of how important it is to do that work. So there is a constant need to watch over and always check the spiritual state that we are in. ונשמרתם מאוד לנפשותיכם. Another sentence that says that like a vessel is built by actions that bring together spirit and matter. And if the intention is right, the action of bringing spirit and matter together, which is, we already said it's mitzvah, letzavet, then that action, no matter what we do, it could be drinking a glass of water, but we say the blessing over the water, then the water will be lit. There will be light in that glass of water.
Yeah, think about it like you fill the cup with water and then you're about to drink it. In that moment, or hopefully you're really thirsty, and so you just want to consume it. If you stop, you kind of pause your reactive nature, put a blessing, really mean it, really feel how much you want to drink this water. So this space that you just created, already fill the moment with light. You created this space, you restrained your will to just consume it for yourself only now, immediate gratification. Space was created, light comes in from your heart into the glass with a blessing, with the right words, and you already brought a light into matter. You made a mitzvah, a tzivut, matter and spirit together.
So the Shekhinah, another interesting thing about it, that it works with also the Sitra Achra. So the Shekhinah is that queen that is a revelation of God in this realm, is also responsible for judgment and boundaries and order and justice. And it's working with Satan to make sure that Satan is keeping everything in order, and also to try and bring light to the realms of Satan. But Kabbalah is telling us Satan is always trying to make Shekhinah be his partner. And trying to bring Shekhinah into the realms of Satan, and make her like a part of his world. So it's just an interesting thing, because we can see also in like Greek mythology that we have the story of Persephone. I hope that's how you say it in English, Persephone. And she is going half of the year to spend with Hades, the lord of the underworld. And then on the other half of the year, she's going above the ground to the earth. And that's like the beginning of spring, basically. So the concept of this queen, goddess, powerful entity is not only in Kabbalah. We can find it in many other wisdom teachings and sacred knowledges. So yeah, now we know that the name of the Hebrew entity is Shekhinah, and we know what she's here to do and how we can attract her into ourselves. Any questions so far? No.
Yeah, I just wrote some things that Shira mentioned. So the mechanism of the Shekhinah is, to fill every heart, every vessel, or every heart of every vessel with the light, every heart that is open for it. And also set boundaries. This strong feminine, divine feminine energy has the ability to work with Satan to set boundaries, to actually feel when someone, think about it, when someone is not really willing to land the Shekhinah on his heart, land the light, he's only acting and like willing to get pleasure from materialistic, egoistic side. So the Shekhinah will not, like, kind of, there's a blockage, a masach. The screen is created, the boundary is created, and you only get your pleasure from a bank of Satan. So you're just dying slowly, basically, and the Shekhinah is away. So it's like her mechanism. If you want to, if you're worthy, we'll come in. If not, the boundary is set.
It's also, it's like an erotic descriptions as well with the Shekhinah, because like what you said, if you're worthy, she will come in. It's like a union, and the union can only happen if there is worthiness and the vessel is prepared. So the ultimate union would be Shekhinah with the divine masculine. that union is basically the end of times. It's like when Shekhinah and the divine masculine part of the light will connect, then the world will be one again. As long as they're separated, Shekhinah is here and the divine masculine is not, is like in a different realm, then we still have this separation reality. So on like on its erotic level, Kabbalah is describing unions between vessel and light, vessel and Shekhinah, Shekhinah and the divine masculine. Yeah, and it's like the Song of Songs. It's also like a love story. I don't know if you're familiar with the Song of Songs, Shir HaShirim, it's the text that is in the Bible, and it's very, very holy. I think it's the holiest text in the whole Bible. It's basically describing a love story between the Shekhinah and the divine masculine. And it's beautiful. It's like, wow. And it codes, basically, like the words are just codes, but even when you don't understand the deeper meaning and you just read the words, it's just so beautiful. And you can find it in also lyrics of modern artists that are doing interpretations of Shir HaShirim all the time, like Idan Reichel and who else?
Yeah, no.
But take a look at Shir HaShirim and then think about the Shekhinah and the divine masculine and try to see if you feel more connected to the text after.
All right. So we talked about a lot of things. Eventually, it's everything being concealed into the spiritual walk. Faith, we have the faith, mind first with the faith, then we have the heart. Open the vessel from one side, open the vessel from other side, be a channel. We have the point in the heart, so that's also term in Kabbalah that's been said a lot. Point, נקודה שבלב.
A point in the heart.
Point in the heart. הנקודה שבלב. That it's a term that refers to a person that opened his heart for the first time. Like this is the first step of starting to do the heart work, the spiritual heart work. When we talked about like the heaviness of the heart and how it can break, or if someone just feel his consciousness with materialistic stuff and just consume and desire materialistic stuff from an egoistic side. So sometimes there's no point in the heart in this process of just being egoistic when it's very concealed. And at some point, this point is created. They say, like, you do good deeds, you get into a point when your heart is broken, whatever. There are different ways that eventually will cause you coming to this point that you have this point in the heart that is now open. This point is now a space for the light. This is the first step that start the connection. So
we have some practical ways of purifying the heart in order to make it a shrine of the Shekhinah to come into. So one way, because we always say like we can't surrender to the sweet pleasures. We have to share. We have to think about others and love them as we love ourselves and everything. But what is the practical ways in which we can do it? So besides fasting and restraining and pausing before we follow our desires and our automatic behaviors, There's also mindfulness with speech. That is highly important as well in Kabbalah, especially in Hebrew, because the language itself is considered to be like casting spells, but in every language, because just speaking words or intentions that are not true is creating like a leak in ourselves from the inside out. And that's where the Sitra Achra can come in and cause damage. So keeping our speech accurate, and our words, choosing like wisely what we say and being aware of that. Of course, it's not human to do it all the time, but to try and to keep that in our minds.
That's the work.
That's the work. A second thing is cleanliness, which is the cleanness of the body, is like a proof of cleanliness of the mind, and it's an indication of walking the path of truth. Third, bribe will blind the eyes of the wise, which means it's not easy seeing the value that someone gets from doing spiritual work. As we said, we always want to see the result quickly.
And you see a lot, and then the heart desire what we see. So it's like really a work to overcome this.
Yeah, overcome the need to see results immediately and just trust the process. And know that if we're doing the right work, then we will get the value out of it for sure, no matter when.
And probably each one of you already can see the value, because it's something that comes after a while. It's not like the immediate gratification, the bank of Satan, the bank of light. You receive the value after a while with synchronicity, with whatever positivity, and the way you can actually validate yourself that, okay, I did a work, is like looking at yourself 5 years ago, back 10 years, or from the point when you're already a grown up. Like if you imagine yourself and like, wow, I've been like another person, like probably not completely different person, but I'm something else today, you know? So this is an indication that the work is working. You do eventually get something in your life. It's not the religious way of be a good person, and when you die, we will judge you. That's a nice startup to actually a brilliant one, but it gives no power to the people. But in Kabbalah, it says that you will actually be rewarded or incentivized from the light while you're alive. You will just feel more alive. You will feel more. You will be able to feel more layers of the light that will be revealed, because you are living in not just in this bottom world, in this materialistic. You are, as you grow your consciousness and expand your heart, you are feeling while you live. You're feeling these upper realms. You can get to a prophet level that you see beyond space and time. So that's just another anecdote.
And truth and lies is another thing. So when we lie, the body is like a machine, and it's getting used to lying. And then it's hard to change it. So the result could be a person lying not only to others, but also to himself, because he can't find value in the truth anymore. So keeping truth as a value, as a core value, is also something that purifies the heart. Truth is like something that creates the concept of Elohim Tzilcha, and God is your shadow, which is like the state of being close to the divine. It's like the divine moves like a shadow with every action the person is doing when the person is truthful. And you can feel the bliss of that.
Yeah, and it's not about just saying your truth all the time to everyone, obviously, but be truth with yourself, like that you are acting from a place of
your own truth.
Your own truth, of altruism, that you don't care about yourself on.
and the concept of every action counts, in which we already talked about. So, as we always say, the Zohar explained there are two forces that operate: Chesed, which is grace, and Din, which is judgment. And the other force that operates is the synthesis of these two forces, and that is called the middle line, Kav Emtza. So a world is built by grace, by the power of grace. Grace comes above all the other things, but it must have more than that. It's not really possible only to shower everyone with love, giving and sharing endlessly, because people will take advantage of you and drain you out of energy. So loving people and thinking outside of your skin doesn't mean always just giving. We have to have boundaries. Otherwise, everything collapses and loses its essence. So there is a need for a safe structure to support our spiritual journey. And that's a good balance of boundaries and giving. And so when we say, like, think outside of your skin and always v'ahavta l'racha kamocha and do things that are not selfish, yes, but it doesn't mean just give to everyone, because people will take advantage of you, and you will not be able to do your spiritual journey. Which is, for some people, it's also very challenging to put boundaries. It's also like something that builds a good vessel, because you go outside of your comfort zone. And yeah, and we have also an exercise, but let's maybe have a bit of a discussion. Let's talk. Anyone wants to share anything or ask anything? This is the time. So there have been a lot of knowledge in this lesson, so hoping it's not too much.
Hopefully it's kind of connected.
I wanted to say that it's really enlightening and beautiful, and thank you. Love it.
Pleasure teaching it and writing it and preparing it. Honestly, like, it's so fun for us.
Yeah, and also I feel lost sometimes. We're trying to gather things in the same subject, and it always goes to everywhere because it's everything. And so hopefully there you feel
It's very, yeah, it's very profound and beautiful. I love it. It's really, yeah, I love it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Maybe we can read the Song of Songs together.
No.
Okay. Anyone else wants to share anything? Okay, so just one thing before the exercise. When we pause, we said pausing is also a way of purifying the heart and doing the avodat liba, the work of the heart. Like pausing before we eat, before we have sex. That's the whole concept of Tantra, like to not rush into anything, not be goal-oriented. Before we drink, before we sing, before we take medicine, before we do anything, even like cook dinner, or simple things, like pausing and saying a little pray or putting a little intention. Like, I know all of you are in the conscious community and very wise, intelligent people, and you're doing the spiritual work, so you must know about this concept. But just to say that Kabbalah is referring to it as making the thing ours. When we put intention, it's like we put our frequency in the object or the activity that we're doing, and then it will glow in our unique light, and our frequencies will be aligned, vibrating together. So on an energetic level, it creates the feeling of something that like belongs to us, part of us, not in an attachment way, but in a harmony way.
You think about it, you put your energy somewhere, your heart, your intention. With people, they become your friends eventually. You put it in a subject, it becomes your knowledge. You put it in the water, you drink the water, it becomes part of your body.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is why also people cannot really feel something that you put your blessing into it, because why do people steal? They are jealous of the light that is in the object. The object itself is 99.9 something percent
Vacuum.
Vacuum.
Yeah,
Vacuum?
like Rick? No, like
empty space, basically. And what people actually want and desire is that the light that is coming out of people, objects, and sometimes people get jealous and they want to grab what you have. But actually they will not get any blessing out of that thing as long as you put your intention on it, because it's yours. And it won't come to the next owners. It will not be separated from you as long as you don't give up on that.
That's about the commitment, like al tignov, don't steal. It's not about like don't steal your neighbor's car or whatever. It's about you can't really steal. Like it's not even possible, because like people, what we mentioned, like you have your desire, materialistic desire. So people think they want something materialistically, they just want it, but actually subconsciously they want the light.
The light is the only thing
that is
that
being
there is.
revealed.
Yeah, and they won't get the light, so the effort is useless. But they won't get the light if it's something that you put your blessing on it, and then it's yours and it's in your frequency. So the exercise for
This was just a fun fact.
yeah,
But but
related.
yeah, but exercise, just put your heart, your intention, before you do something, pause. We kind of already been there in the pausing, the reactive nature. So last time we talked about it in the context to see the bigger picture, but now it's just pause and put your blessing, put your intention, channel the light into something that you now present with. If it's drinking, playing, whatever, and it.
Sorry, go on. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שכל יד בדברו. So we have this Hebrew blessing that we say, it's the most general blessing that we say on our food or drink or simple task or everything. And you can try to say that blessing, or if you're not speaking Hebrew or you actually want to create your own blessing, then just create like one sentence and try to say it in the upcoming 2 weeks before you do simple tasks of everyday moments, and just see how you feel after. Feel like if the food is tastier, if the water is sweeter, if like what is the feeling that you get. Some of you I'm sure are already doing it, but this week try to like be more aware of that. So that is our exercise. And that's it, basically. We finished earlier today.
Yeah, I think it's fine. Yeah, any thoughts, questions?
Someone wrote in the chat.
What's that prayer you talk about, written on the screen?
Yeah, it's the first one. There are different prayers. You probably can Google and see different prayers for different stuff, and in English and Hebrew. But this is like the general one. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהכל נהיה בדברו.
וואו, אמרת לו ממש מהר.
Sorry, ברוך אתה. You want to write it?
I love to learn the meaning of it.
Yeah, so that's what. So Baruch, it's
Blessed.
blessed. It's bringing a blessing into the thing. Ata, it's you, but it's actually collects all the frequencies from Aleph to Taf. Basically, Aleph is the first letter, Taf is the last one, and Hey, it's the Hey of, let's say, the Shekhinah, or the landing, the Malchut, actually. So I'm talking about the second word, Baruch Ata. So Ata, it's like you, in the simple way.
It means you, basically, like the pronoun you.
It means you, but on the code level, it means like I'm bringing all the energies from the first letter to the last letter to the lowest realm, to reality, merging spirit and matter.
So bless you, God. In Hebrew, we don't write the word of God. We're like not allowed to say it in school when we learn the Bible. It's like Voldemort. So instead of saying it, we put the letter Ha with a little apostrophe on top in order to describe the name of God. So that's what you see in the third letter here. We look from the right side.
And it's not because it's negative, because it has basically a lot of different names are just a different combination of letters, which it's a different frequency and a different vessel that reveal the light in a different way. So that's why there are so many names, and each one of them is used for a different purpose.
And the name is like a very powerful spell as well. So like to say the name, you don't want to bring any trouble. So you just say Adonai. Adonai is like an alternative name for God. So Baruch Atah Adonai, Eloheinu, our God, Melech, King of the world. The world is Olam. Our world is called Olam because the light is disappearing from it. So it's Ne'elam. So the world is called Olam, which means Ne'elam, which means disappear. So it's called disappear because the light is not present in our world. So its nickname is the disappearing.
In an obvious way, it's being, it needs to be revealed.
And then the next words are Shehakol, that everything is becoming or is being by his speech. So bless you, God, our God, the King of the world, that everything happens by your command or.
Bedvaro, it's like as you speak, it's like abracadabra. You create as we create, as we speak with our creator that in ourselves. So that's how the creator created everything with speech. Every word here is a code for something. Obviously, there's a simple way of understanding it, and there's a deeper way for each word and the code behind it.
Yeah. Ismail, I have a question in Turkish. How do you say a bee?
A bee?
Yeah.
A bee. What's a bee? What we're trying to...
Like bee, like this, the humming.
Bee, or like the bee, the animal?
Yes, yes.
A bee. No, not the bee animal. B-E letters. B-E.
B-E-E. The animal.
The animal.
Bee. Animal. Bee. It's arı.
Ari?
Arı.
Interesting. Like A-R-I?
Yes.
Like Shira's partner.
Arı. It's Ari. Arı and Ari has different meanings. Actually, Ari means pure.
Like the Aryan race.
Yes, Ari means pure, and Arı means and Arı means bee.
Yes. Okay. You know why I asked you? Because I did for my Instagram page, Hebrew and Beyond. Follow me. I did a post about the word for bee in Hebrew, and the word is dvora, which is like the name Deborah or Deborah in English.
Deborah. Yeah.
And if you take a look at the root letters of the speech, or abracadabra, as we said, we create as we speak, it's dabar, dibur, DBR, basically. And I found out that one of the assumptions for the origin of the word dvorah is because it's like speaking, because it's doing the sound. So it's like a speaking thing. So
Speaking all day.
anyway, I was just curious if it's similar in Turkish. But
well, the more we go, the further we go in the Kabbalah lessons, the more Hebrew is getting included. And I would love to, if you one day organize group Hebrew classes, you know, maybe take a part of it.
I'm planning. I just want to move.
I tried Duolingo, but in Duolingo, every Hebrew word is written in the Hebrew language, and when I see the letters, I just really don't understand anything. So, like, at least the beginning will learning the language, at least the alphabet, will be a good beginning for me.
I can't wait to start doing it. We were moving to the other side of the house, and we're waiting for the renovations to finish, and then I can open like a little classroom here in the space. And yeah, I'm planning. I'll keep you updated. I'll be happy.
Thanks a lot for that.
Pleasure.
Lovely.
All right. So if anyone else wants to say something, this is the time, and if not, then we will see you in 2 weeks. We only have 3 more lessons to go.
Araba.
בבקשה.
Thank you so much. It was great, interesting. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Okay, love you everyone.
Thank you everyone.
תודה, תודה. לילה טוב.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
So good. So good.
I'll see you guys in November because I'll be back. So I'll be there with friend. Partner.
Yeah, we'll do it in our place as well.
Yeah.
Until then, everything.
I'm excited.
Be built.
Yeah.
Yay!
Welcome
It's nice to tune in with everyone. It's very